most common problems of late in all LED TVs is the fact that they have turned blue. Well, the truth is they haven't turned blue. They were always blue. It's just that the coating that's made them white has burnt off and they've gone back to being blue. But it's also a sign of very cheaply made LEDs, unfortunately, as everything in life just gets that little bit cheaper. This TV is a prime example. Just noticed there's no screws in the back of this TV. There you go. But the other prime example, there are supposed to be a few screws. Obviously, the TV repair guy who I'm doing this for has taken them out just to let me know what screen's inside it. So we're going to put a new set of backlights in here. But as well as that, these are clipped. Very few screws. They use a lot of clips now. In fact, with all the screws out, you know, this back is not going to come off. It's fixed rigid. But the complaint on this one is dark picture. I haven't seen this yet. I'm one of these people that do videos as I go along. I don't cheat and have a look at it first. Well, sometimes I do, maybe. Or sometimes I'm told what the problem is. So let's just have a look. It says dark picture, but I'm guessing it's a blue picture. But I always want to have a look, see if there's any lines on screen, because if there's a line on the screen, it's absolutely pointless putting a new set of backlights in. No one's going to want it. Okay, you can see a bit of a, well, you could, a bit of a gap, but that's just the way the camera picks it up. Yes, very blue. We should have lots of these in stock. Let's stick some in. And this is the model number for the TV. Interesting to note it's from 2016. It's getting on a bit. And whatever you do with LG TVs, don't order backlights from the model number, because this particular model can have up to 6 different screens inside. Check the screen number. I'll show you in a second. This is the number you need if you're ordering new backlights for the TV, especially on LGs. Always check the screen number on the back. Always like to have a little nose around the board and check out the main board and the power supply and other little bits that we see here, just to check what condition they're in, just in case there's a problem afterwards. Don't think there's going to be a problem. Everything's looking good, so we'll remove the speakers and start. I mentioned earlier, no expense spared, not many screws, just one screw holding in the Wi-Fi card here. The Wi-Fi card is looped with the IR sensor, so you bring those out together. If you're watching this because you're doing exactly the same on your LG TV, then just watch this bit because it's really delicate. I'm being a bit forceful because I've done quite a few of these. I know kind of how much force to separate these two bits of plastic here. You see the bezel is held on with the bit that protects the screen, and they're linked together through these clips here. So there is a clip there, and there's a clip further down there, and a couple further along. Now I am using just a straightforward screwdriver. Now you can do this, but just be careful of the force, because don't forget there's the screen connections right behind this little bit of plastic. You'll see it just comes up like that. You don't want to make sure that the screwdriver doesn't slip and go into either the cuff part or damages the board. Otherwise it's game over. So just be very careful there. If you want to use a blunt prying tool, if you have one, that's even better. But because I've done a few of these, I've just kind of mastered the art of how much force to use. And then that's unclipped, and I can begin the process of removing the bezel. Free. Now the bezel should start to come off. And again, take note if you are doing this for your particular TV, whether it's exactly the same model number or not. But when taking off a bezel, you'll be tempted to place your thumb on the screen and kind of pry the bezel off. Don't do that, because if you put too much pressure on the screen, again, the screen will crack. What I do is I put a little bit of pressure with my thumb on the sides there, actually on the bezel itself, to protect the screen, and then just work your way around. And if you've got all the screws out, if you're struggling and it's not coming out, calm down. You've probably left a screw in somewhere. There's no screws at the top, but down the sides and on the front, there are several screws. Off it comes. And this also can be a bit tricky. We are getting the screen tabs out here. They are trapped behind a little plastic groove. Well, there's about 3 plastic grooves, 3 on the left, 3 on the right. Just make sure all the tape is taken off. I don't rip the tape off completely, because I'll use some of that tape again later. And it's just a case of fettling the screen out. But again, those gold tabs that I've just touched there, be very careful, because if you knock one of those out of place, if you accidentally tear one, it's going to cause a heck of a lot of lines on the screens, and you're going to be terribly upset with yourself. But just a little bit of fettling and no brute force, and it comes out. Same with the other side. And then when you're sure, you can start to lift the screen up a little bit. Then you can take the screen out. Some people have said, why don't I use those screen suckers? I'm not moving the screen very far. I'm sure you've seen in the past. I just tilt it up and it stands in front of me, so it's moving a matter of inches. If you have to move your screen to the other side of the room, then that's perfectly understandable. Use the screen suckers. I'm not a big fan of them. You have to be very careful. Again, put the incorrect amount of pressure when trying to create the suction can cause damage to the screen. Anyway, that's why I don't use them, but some people do. I'm quite happy just using my hands. I don't put gloves on because I like to be able to grip the screen. I just give the screen always a clean afterwards. Right. And now the screen bezel comes off. We've got the main front bezel off. It's just a load of clips around the side. Easy to do. Do it with your fingernails. Don't really need a screwdriver. Sometimes these can be on very tight, especially if they're being taken off for the first time, which more than likely they are. I get a lot of comments from people asking me, how do I remember which order I put the diffuser sheets in? Well, I take them all off together and put them all back on together. There's no need to take them off separately. Don't understand why anybody has to do that, so just keep them off together and you'll be okay. These older 4K sets, they only have 2 screen supports, and you just twist and bring them out, and that's it. Shall we plug it in and see how blue they were? You can't really tell on the screen correctly because I'm not filming in 4K, or I'm not recording in 4K, should I say. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain. Well, my last PC died, and that was a 4K PC with a 4K card, but the card died and the motherboard died. So I've had to get this. Well, it was classed as an upgrade of a PC, but it's not got a 4K card in it. I need to find a 4K card that doesn't need a separate power supply. I think they're about 120 quid. I'm going lucky, but if anyone's got one under their pillow, under their mattress, do let me know. But it has to be a card that can go 4K, but doesn't need a power supply. Very kind of you, if you can. She's not bothered about the fireworks. Are you? No. None of my cats are bothered by the fireworks, or the dog. But I must admit, I'm getting to the stage in life where I'm beginning to hate fireworks because I keep seeing videos of terrified animals, and it's just horrible. It really is horrible. Don't want to be a party pooper, but if fireworks are really bad for animals, and it's looking like they are, then I'm afraid fireworks have got to go. It's not on, but that's a separate video. Back to these lights. This is the bit where I check that the backlights match up the strips and realise I've fetched the wrong ones out of the room. They all seem to be fine. The only difference with these, of course, is these ones have got a join in the middle, which doesn't really change anything. Anyway, let's put them in. Just to make sure you line them up correctly, there's always a little hole and a little pivot. Match them up and you'll be fine. Don't match them up, you'll cry. And once you've matched them up, it means you can bring the reflector sheet down and it will just fit straight in perfectly. Phew, got away with that. Let's plug them in and see if they work. That's much better. Sorry, they have gone out of focus. That's probably better to see, but still a bit out of focus. Sorry, it's not out of focus. I've got the work glasses. I've got zoom glasses on. Nice and bright and white. Jolly good. So just checking here that I've got everything in position. Just putting the tape back down, making sure that's okay, making sure the tabs are in the place that they need to be. And also the left and right LVDS connections here. You probably can't see it because it's bright white, but you just need to make sure and double check that it's all lined up okay. Otherwise, when you switch your TV back on, you could have some real weird images, some squiggly lines on the picture, on the screen. And it's because you probably haven't got those, well, it's either because you've damaged the screen or it's because you haven't got the LVDS cables incorrectly. I'm happy to switch on and test the screen here. This is just to make sure I've got the LVDS cables correct. And that's looking as good as it could possibly be, I suppose. Put all the screws back and we should be fine. Just remembering it's the big ones, the long ones that go in the front. There's only 3. And the tiny ones go around this side. And the next thing that needs screwing back in and putting back into place, well, it's the bits that are linked together, which is the IR sensor. So the on-off button is linked together to the Wi-Fi card. So it's the on-off button that just slides into place. And if you've got a similar model, I'm sure it'll be the same. And then the Wi-Fi card just needs screwing back into place. And I always giggle with this because it's just one screw. Just one. I always think that's a bit weird, just being held in by one screw. I mean, it's never going to fall out, but it's just a bit uneven. Always is. Speakers back in, and then make sure all the cables are connected. If you are replacing the backlights on your TV for the very first time, obviously you're watching this video, which is probably just going to be over half an hour, 35, maybe 40 minutes. There will be some edit breaks here and there. But the book timing on this officially is 3 hours of labour to do it. Well, once you've done several of them, you know, you can do something like this between 20 minutes and 1 hour. 3 hours is quite a long time if you've done a few of them before. Good. But if you're doing this for the very first time, don't panic. It is going to take some time, and please do it a lot slower than I'm trying to do it here. So don't worry if it's taking you 3, 4 or 5 hours. It used to do us when we first started. All backlight replacements used to take a good 3 hours, but you just get used to it and you get a bit of a move on. But if you're doing this for the first time, take your time. A little bit of a bonus for the customer. He wanted me to go to eBay and find some feet because his feet were missing. I think he's wall mounted this, but now wants it on a table. But I've managed to find, well, they fit. Whether they're identical, I guess they must be if they fit, because they only fit in their particular grooves. That one won't fit in that one, and that one won't fit in that one, so it must be for this particular model. Anyway, that'll save him a few quid. No real need to do a snooker test on this because it's got a screensaver on it, so that will test things out fine for me. But I will reset the TV using the LG service remote. Just going to check that everything comes on as it should, and we've got no lines, we've got no missing information, no blue, and I'm going to reset it by doing the in stop. Because I do believe this is going to be resold. So any personal information that was on there I want to move, which means when it gets switched on now, it may go through a pretty picture thing. I don't know, it may not do anything, I'm not sure. Well, it just does that. That's it done. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.